What is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. It is Tuesday, August the 7th, 2018, and we are here to talk about tonight's SmackDown Live, and it was actually pretty good, and we are going to talk about it and bring the hammer down where it is needed right here and right now on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, and Podbean, baby. It's the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
All right, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Nick Nightmare. Along with me, as always, is the best tag team in all of professional wrestling coverage on YouTube for the Sledgehammer, the Hammer of Reason, the Wrestling God of Thunder, and the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. And my little buddy, my most trusted companion, and the World Heavyweight Champion of microphones in all the universe, Mr. Blue the Snowball. Thank you guys for checking out tonight's SmackDown Live review right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have some SmackDown Live. Some SmackDown Live. It was actually not bad. It was a pretty good show, as comes to be the case every single week. Raw sends me into an absolute tizzy. If you missed last night's tirade, make sure you go check it out after you watch tonight's SmackDown Live review, because you have things like Randy Orton, the beautiful, evil Randy Orton, coming out, doing it better than anybody can. A seasoned veteran and an absolute career heel. He should have been a career heel. This guy should never even be sniffing around being a babyface when we get promos like we got tonight. Randy Orton pretty much getting in everybody's face in the arena, talking shit about Jeff Hardy, going on this mission. It's like being the Legend Killer 2.0, only instead of targeting legends, he's targeting the heroes and the performers that the fans are putting on a pedestal, and he is the one that deserves the respect. He is the one that deserves the adulation. But a guy like Jeff Hardy can come back and just encapsulate the crowd, and everybody just loves him, and he is the first in whatever this list of heroes he has to take down. And tonight he took them down verbally, and it was absolutely beautiful. Pretty much telling the crowd that I could have warned you all. I could have told those of you who are squeamish to turn away, because you are not going to enjoy what you are about to see. But he didn't do that, because what he enjoys is to watch all of you squirm and to see the anguish on your face as your heroes are being decimated at the hands of the Viper Randy Orton. He was absolutely fantastic. He got his message across 100%. We did not see Jeff Hardy, but Randy Orton has made his presence felt. The one thing I like the most about this going on is not just that they are meticulously planning and taking their time with this story with Randy Orton. They have not included him in the United States Championship match for SmackDown Live at SummerSlam as of this moment. That has still not happened, and hopefully it doesn't happen, because it'll be far more effective if Randy Orton comes out and is the reason why Jeff Hardy loses and Shinsuke Nakamura will retain at SummerSlam. We'll talk more about that on the preview and prediction show coming at you guys later on next week. But Randy Orton tonight, absolutely fantastic. His promo was great. It was short. It wasn't 20 minutes long. It wasn't interrupted by anybody. It was concise, and he was done, and he walked away. He dropped the mic. I feel like he gets pissed off at the fans when he starts to say RKO, and the fans start to go along with him, and that's why he drops the mic. He's not dropping the mic CM Punk style to be like, yeah, I owned this segment. No, he's doesn't want to finish saying it along with the crowd, because he's that much of a prick, and he hates when the crowd is acknowledging him, because he's evil. You're not supposed to be chanting RKO with me. You're supposed to be booing me to the ground. So when he goes RK and the crowd's going along and he's just like, fuck this, boom, I'm out of here. That's the sense I get when I watch Randy Orton react that way, and I absolutely love it. What I didn't love, we talked about last week, is Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. The fact that they were a team tonight just makes me kind of scared about where they are actually going with this. And yes, my friends, I understand that maybe they are going to tell some sort of a story here. But the fact that in the backstage promo between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, they actually took a shot at Sasha and Bayley for not being able to get along, and they claim that they're best friends, but they're really not by showing their actions throughout the year on Monday Night Raw. They didn't say all that, but you get the gist of that when they say, hey, we're not Sasha and Becky, we can do this. We can be competitive with each other, may the best woman win, and we're going to go out there tonight and take care of the iconic duo. So now if you have a segment like that take place and now you later on dissolve the whole thing, it's just stupid to me. I don't like it. And if you believe that they will be able to believably split apart Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair in a manner that you would give a shit about, why don't you just take a look at what's going on with Sasha and Bayley, and you'll know firsthand that that's not a road the WWE is good at going down, and I don't want to see it go that way. Becky Lynch does not want to be, I don't think, a heel. I don't think she needs to be a heel. They can both be the face of the company. They can both be baby faces side by side and just have friendly competition. Didn't that used to exist? Isn't that like actually a thing? Why does everybody have to hate each other? Can't we have two of the best in the business just mutually, respectfully going up against each other to see who is the best in the business, especially when they are such historically documented friends? Part of a faction of women called the Four Horsemen? You didn't want to bring any of that out with Sasha and Bayley either. That maybe might get people behind their friendship again, but no. I have no faith in this to go down the right way. Just like I have no faith in the iconic duo to ever deliver a promo that doesn't make me want to rip my ears right off the side of my head. I would rather listen to an elementary school teacher scrape their fingernails across a chalkboard than have to hear these two talk about this or deliver these ridiculously, overly scripted and not funny promos. When they first entered the ring to approach the entrance for their match, I didn't see the microphone in the hands of Billie Kay, much to my delight. I thought, hey, they're not going to talk. They're just going to come out and we're going to get right to the match. That's going to be great. But boy, was I freaking wrong as she took the mic and started talking. And I really wasn't even listening because I could care less what they had to say. Pretty much all they wanted to do was poke fun at Becky Lynch for standing in Charlotte's shadow. And then they want to say some shit like, oh, Becky's always a bridesmaid, but never a champion. And how stupid are you to even have them say that words? She's the first ever SmackDown Live Women's Champion. Never a champion. I know you're not from here, but, at least do your research before you say such asinine things. Never a champion. These are the little things that I pick up on that maybe you didn't realize. How could they say some stupid shit like that to her? And why would she even care when they're blatantly wrong? The match itself wasn't too bad. Peyton Royce is a talented athlete. Billie Kay I could do without. Becky Lynch, we all know where her talent lies. Charlotte Flair, is she a little bit overrated? Let's be honest. Becky Lynch outshines Charlotte Flair. Sasha Banks is better than Charlotte Flair. Bayley is a better wrestler than Charlotte Flair. You know what Charlotte Flair is better at than those girls? Being a famous daughter. I'm sorry. If you don't like that, that's just too bad. That's the way I see it. That is my opinion. It's not that I don't like Charlotte. I do enjoy Charlotte Flair. I love second-generation athletes, and I support her fully. I just wish that she would progress better. I don't know if she has a nervous thing. I've seen her wrestle some fantastic matches where she absolutely does possess the talent to be what the WWE perceives her to be and wants us to perceive her to be, but she's just not at that level anymore. I don't know if it's the injuries holding her down. I don't know if it's maybe a little bit of the ring rust as of recently in the last few weeks. She just doesn't look like the Charlotte of old. Maybe she'll get back there, but I see Becky Lynch as the star, and I don't understand why the WWE has to use their agenda and put their, nepotism and their favoritism into everything. Because that's all this says to me. SmackDown Live would not have suffered one bit by letting Charlotte Flair sit on the sidelines for SummerSlam. Why not have her sitting at ringside while her best friend is getting a world heavyweight, a women's championship match at one of the biggest shows of the year? To show her support, to be there when she wins, and then celebrate with her. And then if you want to go down some best friend breakup route, go ahead. You're not going to do it well anyway, so please don't. Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch defeat the Iconics. They want to try to push that there's some sort of tension when there really wasn't. If you dismayed looks during this match from Becky Lynch does not make tension. The fact that Charlotte Flair kind of stole her thunder at the end and ended up wrapping up one of the Iconics in the figure eight to get her to tap out and get her team the victory. Is that really a bad thing? Did Becky Lynch look like she was all that upset? She looked pretty happy to have won the match, if you ask me. There were a few subtle moments where she looked like, damn, she messed me up over there, or whatever. I don't know, but I didn't buy it, and I don't want them to go down that road. Let them be respectful best friends, going out there one-on-one, handshakes and the whole nine afterwards. There's no reason for this to turn into a babyface versus heel feud. We have plenty of heel girls on the roster. You don't need to turn Becky Lynch. AJ Styles fires back at Samoa Joe after all of the shit Samoa Joe had to say last week, which was absolutely personal. AJ Styles came out with a message for Samoa Joe tonight, and it pretty much centered around everything Joe said last week about his family. AJ Styles made reference to the fact that, he and Joe go back a long way. And they came up together. Way before SmackDown Live was the house that AJ Styles built, he and Samoa Joe were tearing it down all over the world. Samoa Joe actually knows his wife. Samoa Joe knows his children. And the fact that he made this personal just took this to a whole nother level for AJ Styles. To the point where AJ says, Samoa Joe, you will not only not be walking out with the championship, you will be lucky if you were able to even walk out at all. This was an absolutely beautiful rebuttal from the world champion after Samoa Joe just eviscerated him last week on the mic, calling him out as a father, calling him a failure as a father, telling the world that AJ Styles' family, his wife and children, will be rooting for Samoa Joe come SummerSlam because they want Daddy to come home. Because Daddy don't even have 5 minutes because all he really gives a shit about is pro wrestling. And then AJ Styles this week comes back so beautifully, essentially telling him, the minute you opened your mouth and said that shit, all of the mutual respect we had for one another, all of the history we have and the coming up together is just done. He ruined it, and now he's coming to take the Destroyer down and retain his heavyweight championship. Samoa Joe and AJ Styles on absolute fire. This is how you build a feud, whether it's for a championship or not. 2 consecutive weeks in a row. We had Samoa Joe say something last week with no altercation, no interruption. We had AJ Styles this week come out, no altercation, no interruption, but we did see Samoa Joe, who was in the arena and didn't even feel it necessary to come out because he found AJ Styles' comments to be hysterical, which is a beautiful heel tactic that we saw. Samoa Joe didn't need to come out tonight, but we saw him laughing in AJ Styles' face via television screen, and that was perfect. Now things start to get a little bit wonky because we are having a rematch with Zelina Vega and Lana from last week. Now, if you watched the SmackDown Live review last week, you know my feelings about Lana as a professional wrestler. We know that she belongs as a valet, and that's it. There is something special about Lana that tickles Vince McMahon's fancy, and he is going to push this girl to the moon. She's speaking with a Russian accent 1 second, and in the very next word, she's complete California Valley girl. She's all messed up. Her gimmick is messed up. I don't know where they want to go with her. I was in favor of this feuding her with Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega, a 10-year veteran of the mat. She can definitely teach Lana. Lana will benefit greatly from having an opponent like a Zelina Vega, but by not allowing them to develop a match and a feud outside of the show. You know what I mean? Give them time to plan it out, to have Zelina work with Lana, get a little bit of that rustiness out of there, because Lana is still as green as the grass that Vince McMahon is toking up with Matt Riddle every Monday night. Zelina Vega in the last 2 weeks has gotten a decent performance out of Lana. Last week's was nowhere near good at all. I mean, I say decent being fair, but this week was a vast improvement. Lana did perform a lot better. I do give the credit when it is due. I am not all about just tearing people the fuck down. Lana looked a little bit better. Does she have a long way to go? Absolutely. Is Zelina Vega a great teacher for her to work with? Yes. Should they be wrestling 2 weeks in a row on SmackDown Live? No. Why they are putting this feud between Andrade Cien Almas and Rusev on the backs of their valets is laziness to me. It means they have nothing else that they can come up with that these two guys can do, so we're going to take their girls and make their girls fight, and that's pretty much going to be the basis of this whole feud between these two men, because they're doing absolutely nothing anyway. So now they're essentially just fighting for the honor of their women. Is that what you want to see Rusev doing? Is that what you want to see Andrade Cien Almas doing? Absolutely not. And then do you want to see a 5, 6, however many long minute match with Lana that really didn't go nowhere? That was essentially the same exact segment we saw last week. Prior to the match, we seen Lana warming up. Rusev came out. He's like, I got your back this week. I have your support. It's going to be a happy Lana day. And then we have Aiden English coming out there trying to apologize, telling everybody it was a mistake. He didn't mean for that to happen. He's got the best at heart for the team, and he's only looking out for their best interests and whatnot. And Rusev and Lana's like, you know what, fine, we forgive you, all is forgiven, but we want you to stay back here tonight. Soon as that line is uttered, you know Aiden English is going to come out and do something, and that is where this thing even boils down to an even bigger mess, because the spot that was supposed to take place exposed Lana for being an inexperienced person and given too complex of a finish to go home with, because she doesn't understand what the hell she's doing, and it was no more evident than how this match ended. Aiden English would come out to try to assist Rusev as he and Almas were fighting on the outside. He would get involved to the point where Rusev would end up pushing Andrade Cien Almas into the leg of Lana, who was ascending to the top turnbuckle from the outside ring apron. But Lana either didn't feel the bump, or forgot, or she just hesitated just long enough for you to know that the impact from Almas had nothing to do with her flipping over and falling over the top rope. Green as Matt Riddle's grass. So Andrade Cien Almas and Rusev are rumbling on the outside. Zelina Vega sees Lana down in the corner. She takes advantage, hits her with the double knees, and gets the win in a very similar fashion to last week. So not only are they being lazy with Rusev and Almas by not really having them involved with each other in their build to a match that is inevitably coming their way, they are being lazy with the way they are booking the matches, because they did the exact same thing. That's a Raw move, and they pulled it with this women's matchup. A little bit disappointing, if you ask me. I don't think they should be doing this on a weekly basis. They should have allowed these girls time to develop over the next couple of weeks. Space it out. Let them work it out, and eventually you might even actually get a good match, or a decent match against Lana that's maybe even more than 1 star. Because that 1 star only goes to Zelina Vega. One of my favorite moments of the night was seeing The Miz on the set of Miz and Mrs. and how he absolutely tore Bryan to pieces once again. When you have The Miz talking about Daniel Bryan and vice versa, there is just something deeply rooted in these guys that's extremely personal between the two, and they just can't get along. They cannot coexist. They absolutely despise each other. The Miz, going back to everything Daniel Bryan has been saying over the last few weeks. He's getting sick and tired of Daniel Bryan calling him soft. He's sick and tired of Daniel Bryan's claim to fame being off of his coattails. Byron Suxton wants to bring up the fact that they were back together this all started in NXT in 2010, and he's been a thorn in the Miz's side ever since then. The Miz has been nothing but a success. He's a Hollywood A-lister. He's this and he's that, and he's spouting off all his accomplishments. And in the last year, where has Daniel Bryan been? On the sideline. His only relevancy comes when the Miz has his name coming off of the tip of his tongue, and the Miz just on a verbal tirade against Daniel Bryan. Until, out of nowhere, Daniel Bryan appears from left side screen, absolutely taking Miz off his feet, beating the living snot out of the new dad himself, and just taking advantage of the whole situation with a ferocity that you very rarely see out of Daniel Bryan. It looked personal, it looked intense, and it was absolutely perfect. The Miz would weasel his way out of the grip of Daniel Bryan, have his bodyguards trying to take a hold of him while he smashed a glass flower vase over the back of the skull of Daniel Bryan, incapacitating him momentarily, only long enough for the Miz to slide out of that area wherever they were filming things, like the snake in the grass that he is, and Daniel Bryan would get up looking like a zombie from The Walking Dead, about to go chase down some brains, as he is obviously not done with Daniel Bryan. The Miz accepting Daniel Bryan's challenge, and they will be officially facing off at SummerSlam, something I don't really agree with. And when you see a segment like you've seen tonight and how they've been building off of each other over the last few weeks with minimal work, they're really not doing much. But what they are doing is very, very meaningful. And if they were smart, this would be being built towards WrestleMania. This is much bigger than a SummerSlam match. I know it's the second biggest show of the year. It's, the WrestleMania of the summer, whatever you want to call it. But this match deserves, and this feud can be hyped and can get so hot. Can you imagine if the World Championship was in the hands of The Miz, and all year long Daniel Bryan comes so close to getting it, and it just doesn't happen. The Miz constantly digging the knife deeper into the back of Daniel Bryan until he wins the Royal Rumble and sets up that match against The Miz that he cannot escape from, having the Yes Movement redone all over again, reliving that moment from WrestleMania 30 when Daniel Bryan beats The Miz, getting his revenge for all of these things that he has said over the last few years, going all the way back to that episode of Talking Smack, which is really where this thing kind of kicked off. I loved this segment. It was absolutely great. It felt old school. It felt kind of Attitude Era, and this is the way you build a feud, much like I said with AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. Words are powerful, words are meaningful, and when action is necessary, sometimes it's best to do it when nobody's expecting it. Everybody thought The Miz was safe, tucked away on set somewhere filming off his show, and Daniel Bryan, like a crazed stalker from the woods, found him and attacked him, got to him on national TV. Fantastic writing. I also very much enjoyed the next segment that we're going to talk about, and I may be on an island by myself here, but you guys need to bear with me and you need to pay attention. We talked about R-Truth last week. We talked about how I respect R-Truth. I respect his athletic ability. He is a man much older than, well, not much older, but he's quite a bit older than me. We are in the same bracket of the 40-year decade of our lives, and he's hopping around like a fat cat all over the place, man, like the Black Panther. Just the way he moves and the gracefulness in which he moves. I still will tell you, like I said last week, I don't understand why R-Truth was so misused. This guy has got the charisma and the talent to do some great things, and just in his backstage segment tonight is proof in that there is room for comedy in professional wrestling if this is how you got to do it. Because you know what? You don't have to dress up like a fashion policeman and give out fake tickets for fashion faux pas. You don't have to do that. You don't have to act like a jerk off, call yourself a B team, give yourself a fight song, dress up like your brother every week, make fun of somebody else. You don't have to flip fucking pancakes and shit unicorn poop all over SmackDown Live every week to be funny. You just have to actually be funny. And R-Truth is funny. The fact that he came in there with Shinsuke Nakamura doing an interview with Renee Young and then tells Renee that I want a shot at the United States Championship and I'm going to do what everybody does to get a shot at that championship. I'm going to beat Carmella. And then you got Ty Dillinger playing the straight man in the whole situation, just telling him, no, Truth, you can't do that. That's not how we do things here and whatever. And he's pointing to Shinsuke Nakamura like you got to fight him. And Truth looks at him like, I'm not going to fight Renee. What the hell are you talking about? And then Shinsuke says some shit. It pisses off R-Truth. And R-Truth's like, you know what? The match with Carmella is canceled. I want to fight Shinsuke Nakamura. And now that match is going to take place tonight. That was fantastic. That was great comedy in wrestling. I think R-Truth is great. That's a man that's never been given his due. I will stand by that till the day I die. A night like tonight, when you see a little segment like that, what was it, 2 minutes? 2 minutes of the show, guaranteed it made you laugh. And the teaming of R-Truth and Ty Dillinger is something they should explore. If they ever truly decide to take the tag team division seriously, that is a team I want to see. And that's a team that has to happen. R-Truth and Ty Dillinger, you can call them the perfect truth, and it will be great. It will be great. They play off wonderfully with one another. R-Truth being the crazy, just absolutely apeshit bastard, and then you have Ty Dillinger just being the stone-faced, like, what is he talking about? Truth? No, come on, we got to do this. I think it'll be great. I wish they would explore that. But tonight, what wasn't great was the outcome for R-Truth, as all he would get for his athleticism and his agility and everything that brought him to the table would be a Kinshasa across the chin from the current United States champion, Shinsuke Nakamura. And that would be the end of that. The match was not nearly as entertaining as the segment that preceded it, but it was good enough for me. What was not good enough for me was how they decided to use the tag team champions tonight. You have them cut a meaningless promo talking about how they're going to have fun. The Bludgeon Brothers don't want to have fun. They want to bludgeon. And then you want to give them a match against 3 absolute ass clowns. One guy with a friggin' gray beard and black hair. I don't know their names. I didn't care to know their names. They're calling them 3SK. What are they supposed to be? The alternate universe dimension version of 3MB? Are they serious? This is what they got for the Bludgeon Brothers. You would have been better off not using the Bludgeon Brothers at all. Why do you got the World Tag Team Championships in a handicap match against 3 jamokes from nowhere? They are 1 week, 2 weeks away from SummerSlam and getting ready to face off against whoever is going to win tonight's main event matchup, and you got them wrestling nobodies. At least have them wrestle a prominent tag team and eviscerate them in a few minutes to be more imposing, to bring fear into the hearts of one of these 2 teams that you're going to have to face. You think the Bar gives a shit that they beat 3SK? You think the New Day gave a shit about 3SK? 3SK probably made the fucking pancakes in the back with Mr. Bootyworth. You think they give a shit? Why am I seeing people like this on a SmackDown Live? I expect this from a Monday Night Raw. This is unacceptable. A promo would have been more than enough. We didn't need 5 minutes wasted by the time they Bludgeon Brother walked their ass down to the ring, which takes almost about as long as The Undertaker, and then they want to go to commercial and give us the picture-in-picture of these 3 fucking idiots warming up in the back. They don't even go to the picture-in-picture during a World Championship match of the main event of the night on most occasions for any of the shows that they put on every week. But we gotta watch Mo, Larry, and fucking Curly doing curls in the back. We can't even hear their name because we're listening to friggin' the girls sell Popeye's chicken. Awful. Not awesome. Terrible. At the end of the night, we would have the New Day going up against the Bar to face these Bludgeon Brothers, who were absolutely disrespected tonight, for the SmackDown Live Tag Team titles at SummerSlam. And you know what? This was a fantastic tag team match. Why would it not be? These guys have only wrestled each other for about the last 2 years up until the Bar got injured and have been off TV as of late. The biggest problem with this matchup is that neither one of these teams should be in it. Although tonight was a fantastic match, did you really want to see the New Day versus the Bar again? Do you not think it maybe would have been a lot more interesting if the Usos would have advanced and then Sanity would have advanced, and then you could have played off all of the tension that has built up between those two teams in recent memory? It's been happening over the last few weeks. Sanity made their debut, making the Usos look like fools. From that point on, that should have been the only feud or the only thing that the Sanity team and the Usos were involved in. You could have had Naomi with the Usos. You could bring up Nikki Cross with Sanity. It would be a great way to involve and debut Nikki Cross. And off we go to the races. And now you would have had them meet in the finals of this tournament, and the winner would go on to face the Bludgeon Brothers. Does it matter whether they're good or bad? Sanity, if you ask me, are kind of one of those teams that can skirt the line. You know, like a DX. You're going to have half the fans that boo them, and then you're going to have a bunch of the hardcore fans that absolutely love them and respect them for what they do. Much like we saw at the beginning of the show for Randy Orton. You had about half the crowd cheering his ass because new Randy Orton is great and we're all happy they went there. Then you got the other half booing him accordingly because he's a simple rap bastard. And that's what should be happening with teams like Sanity. It's also where the Usos kind of reside. They're not fully babyface. They have pretty messed up things to say. They're still putting people in the penitentiary. They're still skirting along that middle performer line. Why can't they do that with Sanity and let them go and face the Bludgeon Brothers? Get the 3-on-2 advantage, and then they defeat the Bludgeon Brothers thanks to maybe the interference of Killian Dane or a Nikki Cross, and now you have a legitimate reason that you can give the Bludgeon Brothers that makes them not look so bad. They didn't lose clean to the Sanity, and now you go along and you have so many different options you can go with. You can have R-Truth and Ty Dillinger become a team. You can have now the New Day try to get back into the race. You can have the Bar try to build themselves up again after coming back from injury, not just being inserted into a championship tournament. The possibilities are endless. The tag team division on SmackDown Live has a lot of potential, but when this is what we see and we get the New Day at the end of it all winning to face the Bludgeon Brothers, are you interested? I'm not. Do you want to see another New Day title reign? I'm not. 400 plus days is more than enough. They are a team that is now above championship status. If you're going to give the New Day championship belts, it should be done so in singles capacity. Because the tag team boat, been there, done that. And even if your only point in this is to feed the New Day to the Bludgeon Brothers, it's not going to have that much of an effect because the New Day are a joke. They are a comedy tag team that is past their prime. The gimmick is way past its due date. You shouldn't be making pancakes with this batter because it's expired. I think it would have been much more interesting to go another way. And the very least they could have done is if you were going to bring the Bar back and debut them and put them in this championship situation and have them win the first round and move on to the finals, you should have at least had them win. For all the same reasons. The New Day has had their moment in the sun. So has the Bar, you could say. But they haven't really done so on SmackDown Live. And I think the Bar would be a much more believable opponent for the Bludgeon Brothers if you wanted to really have a good match. Sheamus and Cesaro could take the Bludgeon Brothers and have a fantastic match. The New Day, what are we going to get? The same shit we see every single Tuesday from the New Day. Everything we've seen for the last 2 years from the New Day. Nothing new, nothing special. The New Day versus the Bar for what, the 1300th time? Right? Yeah, sure, it was good. I knew it was going to be good. But I was hoping that the Bar would win. I'm sure you guys agree with me in saying that the New Day does not need to be the tag team champions, and that was a wrong move. The whole booking of this tag team championship tournament has been wrong. We did get some great matches in the process, though, so you always have to be appreciative of that. Tonight was no different. The New Day and the Bar brought their A game to a match that they knew the crowd has seen, but at the end of the day, everything we saw in this match, we have seen before. We have seen before. As good as it was, nothing new, not that exciting, not looking forward to our number one contenders, the New Day, facing the Bludgeon Brothers. Couple of small hiccups, like I said, on SmackDown Live, but for the most part, this was a very enjoyable show. It was entertaining. The bullshit was not as draggy as usual because it was actually good bullshit. Like we said, we had a great promo from AJ, great promo from Randy Orton, a lot of great stuff tonight. The Miz was on fire, Daniel Bryan's sneak attack, great building along the road to SummerSlam on the Blue Brand. Much different than the garbage we had to put through last night, that we were put through last night on Monday Night Raw. If you missed last night's roasting of the worst show on television, you better go watch it after we finish up here in just a couple of minutes, because you're missing out. It's not as hot as fire as last week's. Last week's was molten lava, the Raw review. You might not want to play it because it might melt your computer screens, or your phones might just evaporate in your hands when you watch and feel the heat coming off the screen as I bring the hammer down on Monday Night Raw. This week was not so much as intense, but that's because I don't want to bring you guys repeats. You know, Monday Night Raw repeats every week. I try to be a little bit different, and it's hard to do when they give me the same show over and over again. Tonight, like we said, we don't come down too hard on everything. SmackDown Live was fantastic. For the most part, there are problems and issues that the hammer comes down on. And that's why you're here, because you need to know. And if you missed out and you didn't know, now you know. And knowing is half the battle. And that's why we're here. And we are getting ready for SummerSlam by continuing to celebrate SummerSlam as we continue to invite all of you guys, if it is your first time here on the show, to join the Sledgehammer Club. Hit that subscribe button right now and be one of the hundreds of fans that have been joining by the minute at this point. SummerSlam is working like a charm. You could be the next in line. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button and join right now. Let me know if you subscribed during this video in the comment section of this video, and I will be sure to give you guys a shout out on the very next video that we do. I promise that. Also, make sure you guys pick up your t-shirts. When you do, take that picture of your handsome self or your beautiful sexy self in my beautiful sexy t-shirts. Get it to me on social media at Nick Nightmare is the Twitter handle. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook.com. You can find us everywhere in the world. Get your pictures at me so that I can get you guys in the video, because we're getting ready to celebrate our 2-year anniversary. It's coming up, SummerSlam weekend. Don't miss it. You need to be here for it, and if you want to be in it, you know what to do. Grab those t-shirts. Hit me up in the comment section. You will be shouted out, as 2 years is wrapping up pretty quickly. And I can't believe we're even here. And on top of that, I can't believe that every year we're going to coincide with SummerSlam, and it also looks like we are going to coincide with my favorite tournament of all time, the Mae Young Classic. If you have been watching the coverage, keep your eyes open, because part 4 is coming at you later on today. Most likely you are watching this and it is Wednesday or very late Tuesday evening. You are going to see the Mae Young Classic preview concluded. All 32 names now announced, plus we go over the announce team and everything you need to know on your official channel for Mae Young Classic coverage. Sledgehammer TV is the place to be. Don't you guys forget it. It's coming at you all week long. We are firing on all cylinders. SummerSlam preview and predictions are going to be coming at you. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn preview and predictions coming at you. And I may even, depending on how things go with the upload of the Mae Young Classic video, I might even be here tomorrow night for a little NXT. If you'll be interested in that, as we are building that road to TakeOver, and you want to know how I feel about what's going on over there with a very big injury in the works to Aleister Black, which may throw a wrench in everything going on the Yellow Brand. Let me know if you'd be interested in that by hitting me up in the comment section down below. Ask me for some NXT and you just might receive, especially up until SummerSlam and TakeOver. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for indulging on my bullshit at the end here, because I have to try to push this show, and you guys can help me. Do not forget to smash that like button, share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world. Word of mouth is the best way to get around. Let's get the world infected with Sledgehammer TV. If you know somebody that loves the Mae Young Classic or had a good time watching SmackDown Live tonight, you know where to point them, because this is the place to be on YouTube when you want the hammer brought down on professional wrestling. My name is Nick Nightmare. The hammer's name is Thor. He is the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, the wrestling god of thunder, and the hammer of reason. And he's got a tag team partner who's wearing all the gold on this show right now. He goes by the name of Mr. Blue. We're so glad to be with you, and all three of us are very glad to be with you on a show of champions, gods, and legends. But the biggest legends of this show are you guys, my fans. Absolutely awesome. I love each and every one of you. Thank you guys so very, very much. That is going to do it, my friends, and we are out of here, and we will see you all week long, and I will definitely see you tomorrow for that Mae Young Classic preview conclusion, right? You're going to be here, right? Because there's no other place to be than right here on Sledgehammer TV, the home of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show and the best fans around. Have a good night. Keep your eyes open all week long. We're coming through, and we're taking over YouTube one sub at a time. Starts with you.